Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast on 312 Sports, is brought to you by Beer Church Brewing, New Buffalo's brewery, pizzeria in a historic church. Wood-fired Neapolitan pizza, small batch craft beer, brunch every day. Visit beerchurchbrewing.com. The first place Bears are 8-3 and sitting in comfortable playoff position after a win over the Steelers by a final of 31-28. It was a strange game from jump, and there were people out there of whom you have never heard because NFL games, as we get toward late November, tend to look like that. But they beat a winning team, and they can be proud of it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The 3-point victory at Soldier Field over what was a first-place team in the AFC North without Aaron Rodgers. And looking back on it, I still wanted the Bears to beat Aaron Rodgers, but I'm glad he didn't play. I'll say that much about the way that game developed with the linebackers being out. One of your reserve linebackers who starts goes out. It was just a really bizarre game, and they were able to just do enough defensively to keep the Steelers down with Mason Rudolph, thankfully, at quarterback, who can't throw a deep ball to save his life. The Steelers came out one of the worst running games in the NFL at 3-point yards per carry, towards the bottom of the league, ran for 186 yards against the Bears.
Yeah,
and why they kind of went away from the run a little bit and just didn't run more until, hey, stop me, I'll never understand. And Mike Tomlin is being lit up in Pittsburgh yesterday and today.
Really?
Just absolutely being lit up because people thought that...
How dare you lose to the Bears kind of thing?
How dare you lose to the Bears? And several of the comments I read along the lines of a junior varsity defense is what it was.
Well,
it had nothing to do with talking about the Bears offense. It was the Bears defense and the fact that they couldn't take advantage of the opportunities that were given, even with Mason Rudolph as the quarterback who made his 19th start, I think you said, right? In his 19th career start, somewhere around there. Yeah, he's being just lit up for losing that game yesterday against that defense.
I don't think it's a perfect comp to Pythagorean record in baseball or third-order record when you look at what the runs scored and runs allowed say about the quality of your team, but point differential is a blunt way of looking at that. And the fact that the Bears are 8-3 with a negative point differential is a testament to the job Ben Johnson is doing. He really has. He has coached this team to a record above and beyond. That in these games against whoever he's got to play, whoever's on the schedule, to be able to have just enough, to be able to have a blocked kick, to be able to have a kickoff return, all the critical things, all the takeaways that they've had. This has been an outstanding coaching job to this point with this group.
Yeah, and that's why they are 8-3, because of Ben Johnson. And this is what it looks like to have a legitimate NFL head coach at the top of your organization, one of the top play callers in the league right now in Ben Johnson, and what he schemes and develops and plans and game plans against defenses is why they are 8-3. Yeah, that point differential is really interesting to look at, being -3, the only first-place team to have a negative point differential, the only winning team to have a negative point differential, I think. And so far, you've had 4 games on the calendar. Now, every game matters. Obviously, every game matters. Every game is a W or an L. But you've had 3 divisional games.
Or a tie. He's got one this
Or
year.
a tie with the Cowboys. That's correct. Cowboys and Packers, I think, right? You have four games that are really, I want to highlight and look at. 2 against the Vikings, 1 against the Lions. You're 1-2 in those games. You're 1-2. Almost gave up the second one to J.J. McCarthy, who was absolutely terrible in that game. You got beat badly by the Lions. You did beat, and then you had one stolen away from you at home Monday night to open the season up by J.J. McCarthy and the Vikings, who later was then named NFC Offensive Player of the Week. And then this coming Friday against the Eagles is not, for me, is not the first test of the season, but those 3 divisional games with this one, the 4 most important games. Now, again, every game is a win and loss. Every game is important. But these are ones to look at, your divisional games and then NFC opponents, especially one that's on top of a division that is defending Super Bowl champion, that is currently 8-3 as well after a horrible loss yesterday in Dallas.
Well, I'm not holding them to a victory standard in this game. I just want the Bears to play well on Friday. I want the Bears to acquit themselves professionally and just don't look like this is the class hike that we all know it is. Play up to your level of opponent. Play up to them. And I'm not really worried tactically. I'm not worried about preparation. I'm just concerned about the quality differential, the overall talent differential in this game right now. And I think they'll be prepared. But until they get out there against, and I think it may help them too for it to be a short turnaround, that there'll be less of themselves. Perhaps maybe still a little bit beat up, and that might even things out a little bit because neither team is quite properly recovered. But I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm just worried about how well they can play and what they can show in this particular matchup where they're doing it.
Now, I totally understand what you're saying, and half me agrees with you. The other half me, I don't like it.
You're getting greedy?
Yeah, because why can we not hold them to a standard of victory in this game on Friday? Why not?
It's a lot to ask, I think.
So?
Okay.
So what? You're 8-3 and you're in first place in your division. You want to be a big boy?
Well, maybe I'm going in with a sense of awareness that I mean maybe I don't think that they're as good as their record says they are.
Yeah, and again, I understand that. I do, but I'm still going to hold them to the standard of you should go out there and win this game.
They want us to.
You should go out and win every game.
And I'm noticing it in a lot of the post-game comments, too, that the Bears aren't shying away from what they didn't do well at all. Like, they're owning it. They know what they left on the field and what it took. They had 2 chances to put this game away.
Right. They had 2 drives at the end to put this game away, and they failed to do it. Now, Kyle Monungai, I don't know if he slipped completely on the grass or he tangled up in someone's feet.
Was I texting you or someone else?
At that, I was someone else.
Okay, because I was texting other people. I said, zone left. And I was screaming it to anybody who wanted to know.
You did text me about running behind.
Yes, Tooney.
Yeah.
That in these situations, stretch left because you run behind the best player on your team. And they did, and they had it.
They had it. And again, I don't know if I have to watch again. I don't know if he just slipped or if he tangled over someone's feet.
No, somebody got him. Somebody reached out. It was a legit, it wasn't an accident.
Was it a hand? I thought it was somebody's feet he tripped over.
I don't know. Watch it again.
Yeah, I will.
I'm pretty sure somebody got him.
Okay, but that was there for you. Caleb Williams also had an opportunity to complete a pass that it was just a really bad throw. You get that first down, and that ends the drive, or that ends the game essentially for the Steelers, and doesn't allow them the opportunity to get back in and even get close to trying a field goal. But I mean, that was a complete train wreck at the end for them too. Mason Rudolph and getting tipped by Grady Jarrett, and then a bad pass Brisker at the end. Had no chance of even getting close to his target.
And you know what? Had Brisker not tipped that, did you see where Nashawn Wright was?
Was he going to pick it off?
I think it was, and he still wouldn't have gotten a damn game ball.
No, he wouldn't have.
No, still. They're going to 4 picks in a game. He's not going to get a game ball.
All right, I want to just listen to Ben Johnson, a couple of cuts from Ben Johnson after the game yesterday. He was asked first about Caleb's game.
Once again, I got to go look at that tape. But 31 points on offense, and that's always a good thing when you get over 30. So, from my perspective, we probably had a couple that we let it get away from us, but I don't know many quarterbacks that do play a perfect game.
Okay. Again, interesting. Doesn't have any initial comments, which he's always had every game on post game, with the exception of yesterday and then after last week's game. Okay. The answer was, I need to watch the tape. Okay, which he's consistently had things to say. And the standard there of, I don't know what quarterback's ever played a perfect game. I'm not sure when that was asked of Caleb Williams.
No, perfect
no one.
game.
No one's asking him to be perfect or play a perfect game. That's not realistic or reasonable. He was also asked about Caleb's turnover, which led to 7 points for the Steelers defense.
Just hold on to the ball. Yeah. We know how important these turnovers are. We can't have them. They're not okay. So we're well aware of that.
All right. Sounds frustrated.
Why is he so defensive?
Because he's pissed off about it.
Okay.
He doesn't want that. Get rid of the ball. instead of taking that sack. Find an outlet or throw the ball away. He sounded pissed off. And then he was asked about Montez Sweat also.
He's been heating up since the bye week, Tez has, and you've just felt it each week. He seems to impact the game a little bit more each week, and so I think he had 2, is that right? And had a chance for a third, it felt like, out there from my count, but it's good to see that come on just like that. I feel him, I feel Grady, I feel Book, I feel all those guys, and it's whenever we get that 2-score lead there, that's when it certainly starts playing in our favor a little bit more as well.
Right. Yeah, all good stuff there from Ben Johnson. Talking about Montez Sweat. And he has come on. What is it, 6 sacks?
I think he's at 6.5 in the last, 6 games or something like that?
Yeah.
And he's stuffing the stat sheet. He should not have had the fumble recovery. He had the forced fumble, but had Gervon Dexter not sort of been dancing with whatever. I hope that there's something when they watch that film about
maybe there were 2 balls in the field.
I don't know what he was doing. I don't know what he was looking. He was like, oh, the ball was here. Maybe it's still here. Oh, it's over there.
Maybe there was a hologram that was projected onto the field of a ball, and he was
a force ghost.
Yeah, putting his hands through it, trying to grab it and pick it up.
Somebody was projecting a force ghost of the ball.
I still love the idea of Montez Sweat going to the sideline yelling at the guys like, "Come on, fellas!
I got to do everything around here.
I got to sack him. I got to force the fumble, and I got to run 10 yards and pick it up.
Wait for me to come back over and pick it up. Jeez, guys, come on."
One other play that I want to talk about too is something that we discussed earlier, but not on DBU, but before the show. The play that I've highlighted that they ran, but did something different. The wide receiver screen.
And I also, there was an emailer that sent this in because I didn't quite I noted it, but I didn't quite realize the similarities at the time, exactly what was going on. So I want to thank, this is Buddy from Rockford, who actually did send in a note that, and I love the way he put it. He said 10:38 of the first quarter, the same screen that we've been talking about. The one that was blown up by Andrew Van Ginkel, Max Crosby, and Brian Burns. It was a gain of 12 yards on a draw play to Monungai because of the fake by Williams. The point being, it was a glimpse inside the brain of Ben Johnson, further proof he's seeing what we're seeing. And you can see TJ Watt recognize it. You could tell that they'd focused on the play. Ben Johnson saw it too, turning a weakness into a strength.
Yeah, and it was great. It was an absolutely great call. And in my notes, too, I even highlighted Caleb Williams, how impressive and how awesome his body movement was on that fake. Because he sold it so well, and then he turned, great handoff, great call. But, yeah, Ben Johnson saw that, and we kept asking, stop running that play, please. But they do it in the first quarter.
But they run it, and they bait the guy.
Yes, and it was awesome. It was great. And, yeah, TJ Watt blew it upfield, and it would have been destroyed again, and he counters it.
Think about what that means going forward, too. That the capital that you build up just by showing that play.
Right.
For every opponent whose advanced scouts had been working on this, every opponent's like, all right, well, there's that one. We're going to be the team that gets this. They keep showing this. And now they got a counter.
Yeah.
They saw that one. We can't coach our guy to just go now.
So now, not only running it successfully, but just showing it. That guy now hesitates and pauses for a second, and maybe that half a step is all that guy needs.
Yeah, it's advanced stuff. It's great.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good call, so I loved it, and it was a really creative call. All right, one other thing I want to get into is Caleb Williams, and we talked about him a lot on the postgame show. I want to get a little deep into it. On DBU today, we talked about why this 8-3, why the 8-3 season matters now. Like, what advantage?
Yeah, I'm trying to say, like, if you lucked into an 8-3, or somehow you are ahead of schedule, how do you make it matter that you're ahead of schedule? Where every season is precious, you want to win the Super Bowl this year. It's rare that happens in football. Usually, your surprise year ends up, at least Bears fans know, with the Eagles kicking your ass. That's how it happens. That's the reminder that's coming this week, because you've got the team in 2001. Yay, they're 13-3. Oh, the season's over, and we weren't that good, and we were never that good. And the Matt Nagy team. Oh my God, we're 12-4, and look at this. oh, well, the kicker missed and now the season's over and maybe we weren't all that good and this guy was coach of the year and now he sucks. How can you make that not happen? And obviously the circumstances are very, very different now, but what can you do about the luck that you've had with the opponents that you've had and make your team more likely to win a Super Bowl because of it?
Yeah, so here's the whole point on Caleb Williams. And I've been very hard on Caleb all season, and I'm not going to let up on the expectations for Caleb Williams. He's 28 games into his NFL career. He was the number 1 pick overall. He's had enough time now in one particular area. And why I get frustrated with Caleb Williams is when he misses opportunities to get downfield that are open opportunities, okay? And, people say, oh, you got to relax. Caleb Williams needs to develop and grow. He's still learning this. He's still learning that. It's only 11 games with Ben Johnson. So I want to ask you, what does Caleb Williams need to learn, or which area does he need to improve on in order to complete a pass to an open receiver with a clean pocket and a good foundation from which to throw? What does he still need to learn?
Accuracy. He's just got to be. I don't know if it's learning anything.
Correct.
I don't think he's got to learn anything.
Correct.
I think he's just got to be accurate. Throw it where it's got to, and even on some of the completions, to be on the run side and not on the back side of the play. Throw a receiver in 2 yards after the catch. That's the advanced stuff.
And you're exactly right on it. There is nothing to learn. I mean, we're not asking him to make the most difficult pass in football across the field in double coverage or even with tight single coverage.
He said that.
We're talking about when guys are open and he has chances to gain yards downfield and he doesn't throw a good ball. Yeah, and people are like, oh, you have to give him time. Give him time. You're 8-3. Like, this season is now changed. It's a different season now. Dan, do you know the last time a team started 8-3 in their first 11 games and missed the playoffs?
Started 7-3. I know the Bears did that. The last time an 8-3 team missed the playoffs, I don't know.
1996.
Wow.
Was the last time a team in their first 11 games started 8-3 and missed the playoffs. Again, it was a 16-game schedule. It was the Kansas City Chiefs. They finished 1-4 to finish 9-7. But when you're 8-3, you make the playoffs. I'm sorry if it's ahead of schedule. You're an NFL player. I'm sorry that this is your first year with the head coach. You have a chance here. You're going to the playoffs, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to the playoffs. Now, yeah, mathematically, they could still finish with an 8-9 record.
I was going to say, it's also, you're not talking about a large sample of a 17-game schedule.
You're not. But last year, I took last year just for some context as well. There were 15 teams that finished with double-digit wins last year. Okay, 14 of those 15 made the playoffs. The Seahawks were the only one that did not. They finished 10-7. They did not make the playoffs. They were the 8th team on the NFC on the outside looking in. After 11 games, the Seahawks were 6-5. Okay, the Bills after 11 games were 9-2, finished 13-4. The Ravens were 7-4, finished 12-5. The Steelers were 8-3, finished 10-7. The Texans were 7-4, finished 10-7. The Chiefs were 10-1, finished 15-2. Chargers 7-4, finished 11-6. The Broncos 6-5, finished 10-7. The Eagles were 9-2, finished 14-3. The Commanders were 7-4, finished 12-5. The Lions 10-1, finished 15-2. The Vikings 9-2, finished 14-3. The Packers 8-3, finished 11-5. The Bucks and the Rams were two teams that were outliers here at 5-6 after 11 with terrible divisions and finished both 10-7. Okay, if you're 8-3 after 11 games, you're going to the playoffs. Otherwise, it's an absolute catastrophe of an ending to your season.
And when you talk about the asking the question the way you did about what Caleb Williams has to learn, I'm looking at getting these quotes here from the Tribune story about the game, about how the Bears had 2 opportunities to end this game, to just be over and take a knee and that's it. Colston Loveland said we could have done a better job, obviously, ending the game when we could have. Caleb Williams said it's nice when you get to learn from wins and find ways when you have mess-ups, when you find ways to win, but understand that we have so much left in the tank and we can be so much better. And this is per Next Gen Stats. 10 of Caleb Williams' incompletions came on passes in the short or intermediate area of the field. This is Williams now. This isn't Maddie. It isn't me. It's Caleb Williams. It starts with me, and it falls down to everybody else, missing a few passes, a couple passes that recently I've been kind of surgical with. Missed those passes today. It was frustrating, but I'm trying to stay positive for the guys.
Yeah, listen, let's listen to Caleb Williams, okay? Because if you think I'm hard on Caleb Williams because my expectations for him are too high, I'm going to tell you why this 8-3 season matters and why his performance at every level and every throw matters. Listen to Caleb Williams talk about himself.
How do you look at a game like this? You get the 3 touchdown passes. You guys had an opportunity to put them away.
Yep.
But you get the win. I mean, how do you kind of balance that as you assess yourself?
Yeah. You don't apologize for any wins in this league, and
No one's asking you to.
I think that's a historic organization over there, and they got a bunch of great athletes, a bunch of great coaches and things like that. So like I said, you don't apologize, but you do understand where you can be as a team, what we could have done out there, and that's the frustrating part. And it starts with me, and it funnels down to everybody else. Missing a few passes and a couple passes that recently that I've been kind of just surgical with, and missed those passes today, and it was frustrating. But trying to stay positive for the guys. Just know what type of game it's going to be. They were running the ball well and things like that, and so they were using a lot of clocks. We weren't going to have many possessions, and so trying to be positive for those guys, and not get too frustrated in those situations. And then from there, we gotta it's I said it before. We gotta learn from. It's nice when you get to learn from wins, and you find ways when you have mess ups or all these different things to find ways to win, but also understand that we have so much left in the tank and we can be so much better.
Okay. Caleb Williams is not satisfied with his performance yesterday. He could have said, I threw 3 touchdowns, I had a rating over 100, and I had 0 interceptions thrown. He was not satisfied himself with his performance. I wasn't either. Because they could do so much better. His words. They could do so much better. See, this is not about the development of the quarterback anymore. You're in an 8-3 season right now. You're going to the playoffs. You know what? I want you to go into that locker room, and I want you to tell Andrew Billings and Byard and Scott Daly and TJ Edwards and Grady Jarrett and DJ Moore, Jonathan Owens, Cairo Santos, Montez Sweat, Joe Tooney, Edmonds, and Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon. Tell those guys it's about development for the quarterback this season. Why are they there? Why are they putting their bodies on the line week after week after week so that when their career is over, their physical bodies will never be the same ever again? They're never going to feel good. You tell them it's all about the development for Caleb Williams this year. You're 8-3. Dan,
I don't think it's zero sum.
But they're out there to win a championship.
I think a lot of things can be true. And I think we're in a position to understand that there's multiple levels here. Of course, you start 8-3, win the Super Bowl. Every year, that should be your goal.
Correct.
Is to be in a position to win the Super Bowl with everything that you do. And if you get there a year early or 2 years early or 3 years early, and this is the first of many Super Bowls, say, holy crap, we're here, and it's raining confetti on us, then great. But I do think it's also reasonable to understand that nobody expected, nobody had the Bears 8-3. A lot of this is found money. A lot of this is them playing over their head in large part due to their schedule. And it's okay. And I will quote Caleb Williams. There's no apologies for that.
No one's asking anyone to apologize.
But I also think that Williams has been told, and he understands where he is in his development, that as we said at the start of the season, it's a rebuild of a rebuild. This is in large part a true, almost like a redshirt rookie year for him. And that the truth is, the fact is, you can tell Grady Jarrett and those guys whatever you want. The fact is, we are watching him still develop, which is why I'm continually troubled by the fact that there's no explanation for the accuracy problems.
And that's what I'm talking about, Dan. That is not development and growth.
Right.
Now, understanding his playbook, understanding Ben Johnson's playbook, how to get the calls in, how to share those in the huddle in the way that Ben Johnson wants to, and then how to get out of the huddle and at the line of scrimmage with enough time to take a look at the D. I get all that. That's part of his development. But throwing the football accurately is not part of his development.
Yeah, that's
why aren't you doing that?
Yeah, that's what
what frustrates me.
That we get to a nature versus nurture question about accuracy, and scouts will debate this. Scouts will debate, can it be taught? I know you can't make somebody run faster necessarily. You can't make somebody jump higher. Can a quarterback's accuracy be taught? And he was always, go back and look at the scouting reports and the Mahomes-like arm talent. And we see this stuff every game. We see the athleticism. We see all this stuff, the toughness, the short memory that he's got about letting bad plays roll off of him. I'm concerned about the nature of his accuracy problems. Why it just pops up. Why stop missing open receivers? That's because there's no explanation. That's not about that. That's not familiarity with Ben Johnson.
No, it's got nothing to do with that.
Familiarity with teammates.
No,
I don't know.
What I'm talking about in the accuracy questions and the issue again, as I stated the question about having a clean pocket with a good foundation from which to throw. Why are you so inaccurate? And we saw it play out yesterday where they could have ended the game without giving the Steelers a chance to even try to tie. He was asked more about his accuracy.
You mentioned some frustration with your accuracy.
Yep.
When you're in a funk like that, how do you pull out of it?
Yeah, you next play mindset, and then from there you just got to go out there and execute.
Is it footwork? Is it footwork? Or what do you
Today, I just in the beginning it didn't feel like I got into a good rhythm. I was missing passes and it was it was kind of weird. It was just I wasn't too frustrated like the couple of weeks ago where I was just missing and I got supremely frustrated and things like that. I understood and I wrote on my notes for myself to stay positive for myself but also the guys and I think I did a solid job with that this week and just was missing and it was like I said on passes and routes that I've been hitting the past couple of weeks and been pretty good with and so we'll figure it out. We'll go back and watch and figure out why.
The problem a couple of weeks ago wasn't his accuracy, was the drops.
Yep.
I'm not worried. A couple of weeks ago, I know what was happening. He was
Right.
putting it on guys, and they were dropping.
They're dropping it.
But he just said,
And we saw an impact on the roster and a guy's reps because of that.
good. That's
Yes.
also coaching,
Right.
But
No,
when,
for sure.
But when you just said it's kind of weird, like that's a little scary to not know.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I get so frustrated with this kid.
It's a little scary to not know why you're missing open guys. Stop doing it.
Open guys, clean pocket, firm foundation to throw. Why are you missing?
We got to keep getting better, like I said. It starts with me on my side, and then we'll keep growing from there.
See, he recognizes
Good.
it. He realizes it.
Good.
But also understand that we have so much left in the tank, and we can be so much better.
Yep. That's why I'm frustrated. Because they can be so much better. It's there for them. This shouldn't have been a 3-point game. And then, okay, fine. Take that out of it. It's a 3-point game. Should not have given them an opportunity to drive downfield to even get close to field goal range. You could have ended the game with your offense. You had 2 chances to do it. And it's just that's what drives me crazy. So why is this 8-3 season important? Because I reject something you said.
Okay.
That we're ahead of schedule. That, hey, we're planned at 3, 4, 5. You can't plan that. You can't. You could prepare all you want. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee they get 8-3 after 11 games again with Ben Johnson. There's no guarantee to it. There isn't. You've had very limited injuries on the offensive side of the football. You're very lucky to have all of your, now they're not completely healthy. You've had issues at left tackle. DJ Moore is struggling with some injuries. DeAndre Swift missed a game with injuries, but Kyle Monungai was awesome in that game.
And your issues at left tackle may have just accelerated the rise of your eventual planned starter at that position.
So they've been very fortunate on the offensive side of the football. You've got to take advantage of this 8-3 season because there is no guarantee. So I reject that planning down the road, how that progression works. It may not work that way. This may be the shot. And listen, so looking at the Bears, since 1967, which is the start of the Super Bowl era, the Bears have gone to the playoffs 16 times, Dan. Since 1967, 16 times. 7 under Ditka, 3 under Smith, 2 under Nagy, and then other guys were single times. They've had 14 seasons of 10-plus wins in the Super Bowl era. 14. 7 with Ditka, 4 with Lovie Smith, and then other ones have been one-offs. This doesn't happen with this organization. And I know, and I'm preaching the goodness of Ben Johnson, that this is a byproduct of having Ben Johnson as your head coach. But there's no guarantee to it. You're 8-3. It's time to stop with the excuses. It's time to stop saying, we got to figure it out. You know the whole idea of the quarterback wants to get one of those back? Oh, he's going to want that one back.
How many times
He's
did he
gonna want
say that?
You can't say that 5 or 6 times in a game. That defeats the whole purpose of he wants that one back. And I'm not asking for perfection. I'm not. That's not reasonable. But why is it, looking at quarterbacks, Dan, with 250 or more attempts this year in the NFL, there are 25 quarterbacks that qualify with 250 or more. Caleb Williams is 25th in completion percentage.
Mm-hmm.
He's behind Cam Ward and Trevor Lawrence. He's at 59.2 completion percentage.
And he's made up for that a bit with some big plays. If you start looking at yards, average yards or win expectancy added per play. So he's going to have some higher averages because they're hunting bigger plays.
Yeah, and so he's also made up some ground. Remember we talked about his completion percentage and the expected completion percentage. He was the worst in the league with a differential of almost 9 or 10, whatever it was.
Yep.
He's closed that gap a little bit. He's no longer the worst of qualifying quarterbacks. He's behind now. Who jumped him is Cam Ward and Trevor Lawrence. But he's still up there with a significant differential, okay?
And is he under 60% in actual completion percentage?
59.2.
Yeah, I'd love to take the drops out of there too, to be fair.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. But why is it that Ben Johnson set the expectation of 70% going into the season?
Because that's his expectation.
For what? For not his quarterback, but for what?
For his offense.
For his offense. That's what his offense can produce. A quarterback who can complete 70% of his passes. So looking at right now, Drake May is at 71% completion percentage. And this is over 250 passes attempted. Josh Allen, Mac Jones, Sam Darnold, Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, and Daniel Jones are at 69%.
Nice.
That's the expectation that Ben Johnson has for his offense. This is what my offense can produce from my quarterback. Those are the expectations. He's at 59.2%, okay? He has a clean pocket, a firm foundation to throw, and he's missing guys still. It's not about development anymore. It's about an 8-3 season. You just don't know what's going to happen beyond this year. And you can't say, we're planning for 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, especially when, and we've talked about this too, your offense going forward, barring injuries, is pretty much set with the guys you have on your roster. There aren't many changes. You've already brought in the middle of your offensive line. You have your right tackle. You may have a left tackle, but that's a position there that you could look at.
I think you need an upgrade at running back.
Okay, running back is the only other position. Left tackle and running backs are your question marks. You have your 2 tight ends. You have Roma Dunze and you have Luther Burden. That's pretty much your offensive roster moving forward from your starters are concerned. It's not about what's it going to look like. What are we going to draft? Like what big player are we looking? What skill set player are we looking at to add to this team? You have that there. It's time. They're 8-3. These chances don't come along very often. He needs to be better and making the passes that are there to be made. Ben Johnson expects his offense to complete 70% of those passes. He's at 59.2%. Okay, and there's one last thing I want to bring up to you, and then we can move on and wrap up from this. Ben Johnson was in Detroit as the passing coordinator when they took their overall number one pick at quarterback in Matthew Stafford and traded him away.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Stafford,
he's probably the MVP right now.
17 seasons in the NFL. Okay, with the Lions, he had 9 seasons of playing 16 games or more in the season. He's had one 5,000-plus yard season when he was comeback player of the year in 2011. He had 7 consecutive 4,200-yard seasons. He's gone over 4,000 yards 8 of 10 seasons in a stretch with the Lions. He averaged for the Lions 27 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and 4,423 yards per season in that stretch. something no Bears quarterback has ever touched. And he did it consistently. And they said, you know what? 3 playoff appearances, 3 second-place finishes, 3 wild card losses is not enough. I don't care about the stats. I care about wins and winning Super Bowls. You have a chance now to go to the playoffs and to do something. It's not about your development anymore. Not anymore. Not when you're 8-3 and you're going to the playoffs. They traded away their number 1 pick. I remember in 2009 when Matthew Stafford dislocated his shoulder in his non-throwing arm, stayed in the game and threw the game-winning touchdown. And I remember thinking, holy shit, the Bears have to play against this guy for who knows how long now? That guy? That's some balls right there. To go out into the line of scrimmage with a dislocated non-throwing arm, still accept the snap and throw the winning touchdown pass. And they said, you know what? Not good enough. And they traded him away. Now, yeah, at the end, it's benefited him immensely being with the Rams.
He got his ring. He's going to have the gold jacket.
And, yeah, he's going to the Hall of Fame as a Ram, period. But they traded that guy away because he wasn't good enough, and all the stats were there. He could walk into Hallis Hall today and be the best quarterback that's ever played the game for the Bears. By far. It's not even close. And yet they said, you know what? That's not good enough for us. You don't know when this chance is coming again. You're 8-3 now. You're going to the playoffs. You've got to be better. That's why I get frustrated with Caleb Williams. The opportunities that are there for a guy of his caliber to make the completions when needed, when you have a clean pocket, you have a firm foundation from which to throw, make the damn passes. That's why I get pissed off.
We are brought to you by Beer Church Brewing. And you wonder, is it a real church? Yeah, look, this is what it looks like. It is a Civil War-era church in New Buffalo, Michigan, that is making some of the best food and drink anywhere, even in the extended Chicagoland area. And it's just a quick trip. Go to beerchurchbrewing.com and check it out, and you can actually look at what they call their hymnal here, which is their menu. All of the fabulous drinks, the homemade pizzas, the gelato, everything that they do, and the pizza-making school. That is a place for a special party. You might have a small group. It might just be like your fantasy football guys or your mahjong club or whatever it might be. Or it could be your whole office, and you want something to do. And because it's the middle of winter and you don't know, well, their patio is open. There's TVs all over the place. You want to sit down and watch games there and hang out. But when you go to beerchurchbrewing.com, make a reservation for a private pizza making party. And then you can get hands-on. They've got wood fire kitchens. They've got all of this awesome dough that they make and they proof, and it comes out just right. It's real Napolitan-style pizza that you'll learn to stretch and top, and it goes in for a couple of minutes, literally just a couple of minutes. That's how hot the fire is. It comes out, and at these parties, you can eat every pizza on the menu. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. Every pizza on the menu until you say stop. And it can be paired with craft beers, wines, cocktails. Their small batch brews are well known, not just regionally, but if you know people who spend a lot of time out there in the spring, the fall, the summer, they bring back cases of this stuff. And when you see Pontius Pilate, it's sort of an if you know kind of thing. Check out Beer Church and stop by, say hi. Find John, the owner. Just say, hey, I'd love hearing you on Forward Progress. He's a good friend of 312 Sports and of Forward Progress. BeerChurchBrewing.com.
All right, just taking a look at Week 12 in the NFL. The Thursday night game, we talked about Texans over the Bills a few days back. Ravens took down the Jets 23-10. The Patriots over the Bengals 26-20. Lions dropped the Giants, who were very competitive, with Jameis Winston 34-27.
Yeah, they pulled it all out. Mike Kafka was getting deep in the bag, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Saying, hey, you're going to let me run things?
Give it a try.
Sure, why not?
Packers took down the Vikings at Lambeau 23-6. It was the Chiefs in overtime over the Colts 23-20. Seahawks dropped the Titans 30-24.
Seahawks might win this whole thing. They're really good. Seahawks are really, really good.
Jaguars 27 over the Cardinals 24. Browns 24-10 over the Raiders. We talked about the Cowboys Eagles with that 3-point win for the Cowboys 24-21. Falcons over the Saints 24-10. Rams beat the Buccaneers 34-7 last night.
I want to give, when you mentioned that game last night, and that is going to create a very angry, unhappy, and motivated Eagles team on Friday that could very easily embarrass the Bears. It is possible, which is why I want the Bears. Just if you can avoid that, if you can get out there and play well.
So you feel like it could be another Lions game?
I don't know if they've got the offensive firepower to quite do that, but defensively, I'm just worried about the things that could happen to this Bears team if things start to go badly on them. So this one is. I hate the term measuring stick games, but Bears got to play well. They got to play well. I'm not going to get hung up in the outcome, but they've got to play well. But in that game last night, my play of the week, if you want teaching tape on the NFL, if you want to show a young football player what it means to play NFL football, I want you to watch the play of Elijah Clark. Elijah Clark is a gunner on kickoff for the Cowboys. And he got blocked on a late kickoff in the game. He got not only blocked, but he got blocked to the ground right off the kick. He's running down the field, and he gets blocked to the ground. Guy just clobbers him. Didn't hold him. Just buried him. So he got up.
Mm-hmm.
And this is all happening at NFL speed. He got up. And his guy did it again. As he was getting up, he kind of stumbled. And he got buried to the ground again. Same play. Ball's still in the air, I think, however they rule it. He's still just trying to get down the field. Knocked down. Got up. Knocked down again. Scrambles to his feet. Circles around his attacker. And hits the ball carrier. Hits the kickoff returner. And separates him from the ball, separates the ball from him. He and a teammate combined at exactly the same time. Might have been a little helmet to helmet. But there was helmet to ball. There was helmet to helmet. They blew this guy up. And they recovered the fumble. The long snapper recovered the fumble. I guess was it a punt? Excuse me. It might have been. It was the long snapper Trent Sieg who came down to get the ball.
Okay,
which is awesome for a long snapper.
Yeah,
to get a recovery, but to see a guy lose badly twice, the kind of thing on film, you're like people would be making fun of him. To then race down the field and put a devastating hit on the ball carrier, the kind of thing that can change a game. That's teaching tape. It's absolute teaching tape. For anybody going into a training camp, when they say you put it on film, you might get cut, but that's on film regardless of whether it is an exhibition game, in the fourth quarter of an exhibition game, you're losing by 50.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing where a coach is going to say, I want to cut that guy. Get that guy. Elijah Clark. Outstanding.
Well, it's also a metaphor for life there, Dan. You get knocked down, you get back up. Even if you get knocked down again.
You get up again.
You get up again.
They're never going to keep me down. So just kudos to him, because that was glorious. That was just like, okay, bang.
And then tonight, Panthers at 49ers for Monday Night Football. Looking at the standings, the Patriots 10-2 on top of the AFC East. The Ravens have jumped the Steelers for first place in the AFC North with that 6-5 record. They're tied. But Ravens on top now, Steelers in second place. The Colts at 8-3. The Jaguars at 7-4 in second. The Broncos at 9-2. The Chargers 7-4 behind them. Eagles still on top of the East. The Bears on top of the NFC North. Packers 7-3-1. Detroit Lions at 7-4, currently on the outside looking in of the playoff picture. Buccaneers on top of the NFC South at 6-5. The Panthers 6-5 also, and the Rams at 9-2 ahead of the Seahawks, who are 8-3. Also, the Niners 7-4. So competitive three teams there in that division.
That does it for Forward Progress today, a Chicago Bears podcast, and we thank our friends at Beer Church for it.
10, 219, 219. Forward Progress, a Chicago Bears podcast with Dan Bernstein and Matt Abaticola on 312 Sports.